shoulder for the past without a price. In prison for so long, a pair of wings for me. At each moment, to soar above this world. Shooting star, brilliantly shines, but once at every heart. They all appear to be blessed. They all
Alright, you. Let's do it. What's up, everyone? I'm back. I already did my introduction, so there's no need. But the only bit of the introduction here that we do have to do is, of course, is for the lightning round. What is up, people? Well, since I already streamed earlier, y'all know who I am. I'm back, riding the Phantoms here. We're back with more of the lightning round podcast. This is episode 40. Yeah, who would have thought? 40 episodes in, 40 episodes of doing this solo. Um, Nice milestone, but we plan on having to, keep this going. 10 more episodes, or I would say the first real milestone for me is, just having to get to 50. To be able to do 50 episodes and the majority of it is by yourself, where you felt like the whole time you felt like you wanted to do a podcast, with people. Having to sit here and do this by yourself, it definitely has, I guess helped me come into my own in a way as a content creator, and I thank people for that stood by, sat down and listened, and sat by and interacted with me when it goes to this. Now, granted, we haven't gone so far as to get all this stuff uploaded on, say, Spotify or whatever it is, but honestly, I'm okay with just having this for not only history's sake, but to talk about all these things with y'all. That's what the podcast is for. But yeah, we're back. We back with episode number 40, where we got a little bit of things to discuss. There's not going to be a whole lot, but we do definitely have some things to discuss for you to talk about. Some NFL and just a bit of gaming. Not a whole lot, but a bit of it to where it's making a bit of news for me. But if y'all have anything more y'all want to go ahead and drop down and discuss, if y'all want me to discuss and talk about it, that's what I'm here for. Right now, I can't really think of much aside from one game. But if y'all have anything else y'all want to cover, anything else y'all feel like it's worth, talking about, we could talk about this shit on the fly. We can go and look shit up on the fly and talk about it as we go along. But for episode 40, we have the following topics. We need to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, as always. They move on to 13-1, but it wasn't pretty with how they moved on. But we need to talk about them, and of course, we need to talk about the upcoming matchup with the Dallas Cowboys and what that means for the Eagles. Not more so what it means for the Cowboys, because the Cowboys they're already going to the playoffs. There's not really much they can do there, but it's a little bit more at stake with the Philadelphia Eagles. We need to talk about Yukio. We need to talk about Yukio Mashidul with an apparent problem that, in my opinion, is very much breaking the game entirely. In fact, it's going to make more people leave because of this problem more than it'll have more people to stay and combat it. And of course, last but not least, we need to talk about the Indianapolis Colts. And if y'all don't know, then guess what? That's what we're going to cover. We're going to definitely talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Especially after what they pulled and what happened with the Minnesota Vikings in Week 15. So, in that case, I hope everyone has pulled up a chair. I hope everyone got themselves something to drink. Honestly, for me, I didn't get myself anything to drink because I drank all that there was to drink when I was playing Splatoon. Yeah, we'll go ahead and let's let's get to it. Let's start talking about what's on our mind throughout the day. First thing first is I'm not going to talk about the NFL yet, because I still want to give y'all some time to see if y'all have any topics in mind that y'all want to discuss. So first things first, I want to discuss the Yukio problem that has really transpired, and honestly, we need to start really holding Konami responsible for this. It's already bad enough we're holding them responsible for Metal Gear, but now we really need to start holding them responsible for this Yukio problem. Yup, the Runik problem. Now, here's the deal. I understand Brandon Despia was very, very toxic. In fact, it's toxic to the point where everybody and their mom decided to use it. But here's the deal. Brandon Despia could still be beaten by a couple decks. It's a top tier deck. Don't get it twisted. Brandon Despia even now is still a meta deck. But this meta deck can still be beaten. It can still get, you can still get it. With maybe with a couple cards, maybe even with a deck that can slightly counter it. But with Runiks, it's literally changing it so that you really have to make a full-on deck to counter this deck. Now, Brand Despia, this wasn't so much as the case to where you had to make a deck to counter this, because you can get it with any other day. You can get it on a good day. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple of Branded Despia decks I got with my Sword Soul deck. There's a couple of Branded Despia decks that I got with my Zombie deck. There's a couple of the Branded Despia decks that I got even with a deck such as, even a first turn kill like Numerons or Blue Eyes or whatever. All I know is at the end of the day, you can still get a Branded Despia deck on a good day. With a Runic deck, it is damn near impossible to get this deck. Now, for people that have not seen what a Runic deck can do, I'm about to pull this shit up, and you're going to see this firsthand how incredibly annoying this deck is to go up against. Like, it's to a point, like I said, it's to a point where people are really out here and are making decks to stop this deck. It's that bad. That bad. Now, we've gone through meta before. We've gone through the Eldritch meta. We've gone through the Eldritch meta. We've gone through the Dryden meta. We've gone through all this meta stuff. We've gone through this shit before. But it ain't nothing like this shit here. Like, this shit is like next level bad. It's next level bad. So let me go ahead and bring in one of these. Yeah, like, and I hate having to give shit like this views, but you have to so that you can see how bad this is.
Player in Master Duel. Yes, today's guide is about Runik, the deck that makes everyone crying in Duelist Cup. These guys.
Yes, literally when the Duelist Cup came out, this is all I really saw most of the time, to the point where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just stop playing.
Won't be as usual,
and I'm going to continue to stop playing until they address the issue.
It's more to explaining on how to properly play the cards and responds to our opponent's action. I add the timestamp on description and also pinned comments.
And I'm going to show you a couple of the cards. Hold up. I'm going to show y'all a couple of the cards that are needed to counter this deck. In fact, this guy might have it here in this video. But, yeah. I'm not going to play through a full 10-minute video to explain, but only play a little bit of it, and I'll play the match so that you can see for yourself how incredibly toxic this is.
The effect of this archetype is pretty straightforward. Disrupt your opponents and banished, or protect your life points and field spell. All you need to know about this deck, that it doesn't have any main deck monsters. So far they only...
Look at it. Prime example right here. Spells, and there's only one particular card that can help with this. Two particular cards that can help with this.
Summon them in an abnormal way. Their main deck consists only spell cards. Their spell cards have two different types. Quick play spell and non-quick play spell. That's literally what's written in the text. All of the quick play spell have two different effects, but you can only activate the cards once per turn. The first effect is usually the effects that can disrupt your opponent's play and banishing cards from deck. The second effect across all the quick play spell are all the same, which is special summon a Runic fusion monster to the extra monster zone. Remember, it needs to be summoned to extra monster zone, not the main monster zone. If your extra monster zone is occupied, you still can activate the cards if the requirements are met, but you cannot choose to activate the second effects. So as long your extra monster zone is empty, you can activate these second effect any times, as long as the spell card hasn't been activated yet this turn. They also have a restriction cost, where you gonna skip your next battle phase after activation. This is the reason that your winning condition is only decking out your opponent, nothing else. The non-quick play spells are Runic Fountain the field spell, and Runic Allure the continuous spell. Runic
this one
Fountain
right
is
here
the
is what
culprit
makes
of
the
this deck.
card
If
makes
you
the
manage
deck
to
go.
negate this, Runics are done. These cards can reload a maximum of 3 Runic quick play spells from graveyard to the deck, and let you draw the same number. And it's also allow the Runic player to activate quick play spell directly from hand anytime you want, including in your opponent's turn. So you must protect this field spell whatever the cost is. And also, why we play Reasoning and Monster Gate. Those 2 cards are basically grass for Runic deck. This deck mostly consists of spell cards, and just 3 to 4 monster cards on the deck, so it's an advantage when you mill most of your quick play spell to graveyard. Which means you can just activate 1 quick play per turn and reload another 3 from graveyard and draw 3. With these you will not be out of resources for the whole duel. Runic Allure is the least important one, but it helps to speed up the decking out faster. Every time a quick play spell activate, including your opponent's cards, you will banish 1 card from opponent's deck.
Now here's the deal. I'm gonna skip this all the way to how to counter this, and there's cards that basically they're making it so you have to get these cards in order to counter this deck. Otherwise, you might as well just damn near quit the duel.
This deck
I'm gonna give y'all a couple decks. If you don't have these specific cards, I'm gonna give you a couple decks that's needed to actually slightly help, with going up against the Runic deck.
So far, I heard the best card to counter this deck is by adding Chaos Hunter to any of your deck.
That's one. Chaos Hunter, I had to literally scrap some material in order to get it, because you can't banish cards. So I'm gonna tell you this right now with Runic cards. They love to banish you, but when it's the other way around, they can't do shit. You have to banish them before they banish you. You have to get them before they get you. And that's what's I would say a little hard, because I don't think there's many cards you can use to where you can banish their cards first, and then do what you gotta do. There's not many cards out there, at least as far as I know, that can do this. But Chaos Hunter can definitely help, stop that process, if only slightly, to where they cannot banish the cards. But here's the deal: as of late, Runic players have been able to counter this by bringing in Skill Drain. So with Skill Drain, this completely nullifies Chaos Hunter, and they can go ahead and go back to just banishing you. So you have to really be ready to bring in cards like Harpy, Feather Duster, or whatever, to make sure that this process continues. So Chaos Hunter is one.
Also Cosmic Cyclone or any banish effect to banish the fountain.
Or that.
If you are playing Branded Despia, banishing Fountain is your top priority. Ash Blossom could also problematic for Runic. Make sure save your Ash Blossom or any negate to negate Fountain when it's activate to reload their spell cards. If you playing Endymion, add more Secret Village, it is the best card to stomp Runic. If you playing Eld Lich or Labyrinth, you can bring Anti-Spell Fragrance. If you playing Branded Megatron like the one this video, this deck have monster called Spell Canceller, which works same like Secret Village.
Now, I might craft this as well for this exact reason, just to stop them from doing any more spell card effects.
And it can be summoned with usual 2-card Drytron combo.
And it looks like to me, from how I see, this is like a spell version of fucking Genzo, just with less attack.
That's all for the guide. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, and share it.
Now, if y'all want a little later, I have no problem having to sit up there and show y'all the vid where I was able to take this out. Now, this is one thing that also isn't mentioned in this video. Shiranui's put in work with the Runic deck, and y'all should know why Shiranui's put in work, because Shiranui's have more than just a graveyard effect. One of them has a graveyard effect, and that's the Spectral Sword. But if you have the Solitaire, if you have any of the other cards that do these banish effects, they will proc because of the Runics just straight up banishing these cards, and you could just put them out on the field and go about your business. So Shiranuis will also help with this. Some, not all of them, but some of the Sword Soul cards will also help with this as well. Sword Soul Blackout will help with this because if you're trying to get some tokens on the field, you can go ahead and get that on the field along with some Shiranuis, and you could do some Synchro Summons and get rid of the Runic Fountain from there. That will help. What else? Y'all know my favorite Sword Soul card, the one I had to ban. If that card is on the field and Runics are still out here banishing, that effect is going to proc, and you can just banish the fountain outright. You could banish the fountain and banish whatever else they got in play outright, and then there you go. You can have an easier time. But what's gonna make that hard is, of course, is like I said earlier, you have to start banishing these cards first before you can even think about getting that Sword Soul Grandmaster out here. Two of the Sword Soul cards that are Synchro Summoned, they will get rid of the Runic cards if they're on the field, and if they'll still be on the field when it's all said and done, because more and more Runic players are going to find ways to make it so that you can't activate monster effects. Skill Drain being one of them, where you can't activate monster effects. Yeah, it's becoming a very, very toxic problem with Runics now. We have seen some. I have seen some shit as of late. I have seen some videos as of late that show multiple ways of how you can completely murder Runic decks, and this is all I've seen throughout the past week. You see it from right here. This right here. This right here. You could literally search up Runic anti-Runic deck or whatever the hell it is. You see all this stuff. You see, look right here, Shiranui playing, like right here, just plain simple. And this is how it was able to get it. Like, I'll play this full duel so you guys can see. I want to look at it myself as well. There goes the zombie world. There's the freezing curse. Gonna get that monster out. They had no choice but to take out the zombie world. Otherwise, Doom King's effect is gonna banish it. They had no choice. Get rid of that. Now, y'all probably want to know what was proc just now in order to get rid of that fountain. Give me a minute. Let me go back to that. If y'all did not see it. Use Kazuki to put out Doom King. We'll see what card he banished in order for this to happen. Okay, Shiranui Spirit Master was banished. The minute that card got banished, down goes the fountain. And of course you banished that too. There you go. Had to put another one out. So if you're ever going up against a Runic deck, Shiranuis will have no problem bailing you out. Just be careful with which one you're taking out. Banish that too. That's a Link Summon into the Vampire Sucker. Put out Mizuki, put out Gozuki. Another Graveyard Effect with the Mizuki. Able to do a Synchro Summon. Got the Shiranui Sword Saga there. I know he's going a little fast. Fire Saga there. That's a 9-star Synchro Summon. Maybe? No. Samurai Saga, okay. Bam. 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 Shiranui will help you. I always, I always did have love for Shiranui, but the fact that Shiranuis are being used to take out decks such as that is fucking phenomenal. But the whole point of the matter is, and this is what sucks with this when it goes to Yu-Gi-Oh! This is what makes this so toxic like it is the fact that if y'all notice with Yu-Gi-Oh! By now, you only have, it's only best of one. It's only best of one. It's not every day you're gonna run into it's not every time you're gonna run into a Runik deck. You're gonna run into something else that's toxic that your deck isn't prepared for, let alone that you are not prepared for. So that's what makes this more of a problem. If this was, say, best of 3, and of course you have a side deck, which we see in Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, maybe some other games as well, maybe some other fan-made games, but the fact of the matter is, the reason why this is as toxic as it is because it is literally thriving off the fact that you don't know what your opponent is going to have, and it's literally one match. And you have to make the most out of that one match. So, say for an example, Fuyu, since you're here, say for an example, you have your Mayakashi deck, right? And I know how much you love Mayakashis. And you said yourself, Mayakashis hate, and I mean hate, to be banished. If you went up against a Runik deck, it's game the minute you step on the field. And that goes for a lot of decks. That goes for the Blue Eyes White Dragon deck. That goes for the Dark Magician deck. That goes for decks that literally do not have these cards that do not have banish effect. If you don't have banish effects, you're losing the duel by the time it starts. And if you do have cards that can at least mitigate these decks, such as Runiks, you have to pray you have them in your hand. You have to pray you have them in your hand before they start banishing, and then you won't be able to get it back at all. So that's where the big issue is. I'm looking into Earth monsters that are zombies so I can get Naturia Beast. Hey, I'm for it. It's crazy because I had the Naturia. I have one of the Naturia Beast fusion monsters, and I had to get rid of it, and I hate that I had to. But yeah, the fact of the matter is, look, right now as we speak, literally in Master Duel, I can hop on Master Duel when this is all said and done, and the only thing people are so worried about, they've been more worried about this than any other meta deck I've ever seen. They've been more worried about trying to stop Runiks than they have been with any other meta. This wasn't the case with the Drytons. This wasn't the case with the Eldritch. This wasn't the case with the Brand Despias. This wasn't the case with the Sword Soul either. Why? You want to know why? Because as I said before, all of those decks, in some way, in some form, they have a weakness that almost every deck that is at least mid-tier can exploit. You can exploit these decks. You can get at these decks, but Runix makes it so hard to do when they don't battle you at all, and the only objective they have is to take your deck and put that shit in banish, so that way you can't do a damn thing about it. Shit like that for me kind of makes the game unfun, not gonna lie to you. And I need to say this in all blunt honesty, I don't know what the fuck Konami was thinking, but I feel like they did this intentionally to make people shell out more money to stop these cards. I feel like that was intentional. I really do. I really do. Now, this isn't so much of the case when it goes to Branded Despia, because you can use whatever you wish to take out a Branded Despia deck, but with Runix, it's like, damn, you have to get a couple cards to get this to work. You have to get Shiranuis, you have to get whatever else to do banish effects, and then you have to get Anti-Spell Fragrance, another card I had to get that. I had to get Chaos Hunter, and I had to get the Epidemical Virus card, Trap card. I had to get that. I had to get 3 cards to put in my deck to basically make it a mainstay, so that if I'm ever going up against a Runic deck and I have cards that may or may not be prepared for this, I have to put these cards in my deck so that I can be ready for it at a moment's notice, so that I can know, okay, this is who I'm up against. I have these cards here. I at least have a shot of taking them out before they do more damage than they already have. That's a problem. That's a problem. We're building cards, building decks needed to take this shit out. What's scary is from hearing what other people had to say is, look, if y'all thought Runix was bad, wait till tier elements? Wait till tier elements or whatever else there was. There was another meta deck. Wait till those two start to come out, and it's like, look, I feel like it's like this. If Runix are like this, if we're doing this against Runix, and if what they say about tier elements is just as bad as Runix, I can see it's coming to where people will stop caring about playing Master Duel entirely. Now, I will happily look this up and see exactly what the fuck is such a problem with the tier elements to the point where they're not in the game yet. So, I want to see, why is this such a problem?
Hello everyone, Golden Nova here. And I mean any fusion monster.
You might be a tier element if you live in the dark remoteness of the watery depths and you hang out with the
From your
cemeteries
extra deck
for
by
fun. So
placing
basically
fusion
the
materials
graveyard.
mentioned on it from your hand, field, or grave to the bottom of your deck in
You're a
any
Miracle
order,
Fusion on
including
legs.
this card in
Damn.
your grave. So while you aren't able to Miracle Fusion any card in the game, you can make quite a few that require generic enough materials to encompass Dark Attribute Aqua-type monsters. And boy howdy do we have some targets for that. But for now, let's talk about the theme proper, starting with Tiara Lament's Meru, a level 2 monster with 800 attack and 2000 defense, and if this card is normal or special summon,
You look into Earth monsters that are zombies so you can get Material Beast. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Would that work? It's basically another Ash. I don't see why not.
you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave. I love the smell of normal summon Dante Mill 3 in the morning. While not doing anything themselves, Meru only has to trip one grave effect to make their summon worthwhile, and with proper deck building you'll find the odds of that to be quite high. Heck, even hitting another Tiara Lament means triggering a fusion summon, which gives
When a monster in the field activates its effect, or when a spell or trap that is already face up on the field activates its effect, you can send this card from your hand to the grave and destroy that card in the field. Yeah, it's basically a better fucking... Sounds like to me it's a better fucking Ash Blossom. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard and destroy that card in the field. You can only use this effect once per turn. Yeah, it's like it's a little other, yeah, it's another, like I said, it's another Ash Blossom, but this time it actually destroys and negates. I don't know why people are not using that more often, but it's whatever. Maybe it's because of the fact that it doesn't negate. It destroys, it doesn't negate.
gives you a pretty good vector to hammer away at your
Ghost
opponent.
Ogre when Fountain Fields activates. If you can do that, yeah, do it. But the problem is with some of these Ghost Ogre cards, at least the majority of them in Master Duel, almost all of them are URs.
Tiara Lament's Hoffinus is a level 3 monster with 1600 attack and 1000 defense, and when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field as a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave.
Use if
this
you can
is
just destroy
absolutely an incredible card. While not exactly a powerhouse when going first, it's incredible during almost any other stage of the game, even during your own turn if your opponent has onboard quick effect ready monsters.
Okay, let me read this. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you do, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck by placing fusion materials mentioned on it from your hand, field, and or graveyard on the bottom of the deck in any order, including this card in your graveyard.
You can
Damn.
even play during turn 1 when your opponent's on the play,
Jesus
by chaining
Christ.
to any on-field starter, milling 3, and potentially hitting even more gas before you even draw for turn. And a bonus, you don't even have to worry about getting run over in the battle phase, cause they won't have one. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see this card seeing play in any grave-reliant deck as a way to throw more cards into the grave even quicker.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. If that's the case, I see Shiranui getting more play off that. Or if this is the case, If this card here is any good as it says it is when it goes to being in the grave, if y'all know me, I love my cards not just being in the grave, but to be flexible by being in banish as well. So if this tier element card right here is that good being in the grave, I will consider it.
Heck, I'm already thinking of putting it in PK Fire. It's a level 3 Dark for crying out loud. They knew what they were doing. How could I not take a stab at it? Tiara Lament's Shaylin is a level 4 monster with 1800 attack and 1300 defense, and during your main phase you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do...
The only issue I got with some of these cards is, of course, they are not synchros. That may or may not be a good thing with them being synchros, but we'll have to see.
Send a monster from your hand to the grave. Then send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave. So while all of our monsters are adept at triggering the grave effects of our in-deck monsters, Shaylin is here to make sure our in-hand monsters don't miss out on all the fun. Let me bring your attention...
From what I can see here with a lot of these cards is... What I'm surprised at is they're not water. First off, tier elements is not water. You looking at all this stuff, it has the aqua effect, but it's like, is that not water to you? Like, the fuck? Is aqua not water? But yeah, from what I can see here, is this has some very interesting versatility that might come about. So we'll have to see how it'll all go. But yeah, this definitely has my attention. We'll have to see if they think tier element is gonna be that bad. We'll definitely have to really see. But as far as I know, just looking at a couple of them so far, I can see where they could be a problem. Definitely can be a problem. They have a lot of versatility when it goes to being in the grave, not being in the grave, being on the probably being in banish, fusion summoning, all this other stuff. Absolutely insane versatility, so I can see where it can be a big problem. But for that, like I said, Runiks right now is just ruining shit, figuratively and literally. And like I said, you can just look it up on YouTube for yourself. There's so many fucking anti Runic decks out there that are trying their best to combat this shit. And what pisses me off kinda is, like I said before, is the timing that Konami did by not only releasing this, but by releasing the branded deck as well. But here's the deal. I'll give them this. They at the very least released the branded deck right before they started the Duelist Cup, so that's not too big of a problem. They released this Runic stuff in the middle of the Duelist Cup. Like, literally getting ready to start the Duelist Cup, they released all this. So, of course, you know you're going to see a lot of this when people are trying their best to get up as high as possible in the Duelist Cup. There was only a couple cards I've seen be like, oh shit, this is actually rare and I'm seeing some decks out here, because more often than not, I'm running into a fucking Runic deck. Like, I was surprised to see a Cyber Dragon deck. I was surprised to see a Shiranui deck. I was surprised to see a Galaxy Eyes deck. So it's like, you know, like, I only saw those like once every 3-4 days of having to do the event. So it's like, for having to see it, I'm like, good, thank you. I'm just happy I saw just a little bit of them while I could, but a lot of it's a problem. Yeah. Even seeing a Sword Soul for me was a blessing. Getting turn 1 by a Sword Soul, I'm like, yo, I'd rather take getting a Sword Soul, getting hit with a Sword Soul turn 1 with a branded, with a Baron de Fleur and a fucking Grandmaster. I would have rather taken that than taking having to see another Rooney deck. You even saw Mayakashi point. Yeah, that's like, oh shit, a fucking Mayakashi deck. Holy shit. That's how surprisingly rare it was for me to see cards like that. Like, I gotta give my hand up for people that use those in the Duelist Cup, because you already know, like I said, that is literally as try hard as it gets whenever, and that's the Duelist Cup. I mean, like, the only time this ain't the case is when they're doing an event such as the such as the synchro, exceed monsters, anti-spell, which I wish they brought back, because I'll tell you this right now, we need another anti-spell event. That way Runix will be completely off the board, because you can't use it without any spell cards. Yeah, I would love to see. At this point, here's how I see it. If Runix are gonna be running Master Duel like this, y'all need to start bringing out more events. Either more events, more solos. Y'all need to put that a shot in rapid pace, because I'm gonna tell you this right now. Master Duel is gonna lose a lot more steam with this deck running shit, because how are you gonna play the game if your deck is gonna be banished every time you go up against them? It's like you can't progress. You're just stuck right there. So, we'll see how it'll all go. But yeah, for the time being, yeah. This deck is gonna make Konami lose money fast, because it's gonna turn from a have fun to win slightly. Yu-Gi-Oh for me is already slightly pay to win as it is, but it really has turned it into that because of this deck. But that's just me. Next, of course, we gotta talk about the NFL. Y'all already know. Let's get right to it. Let's talk about the NFL. Now, y'all want to know what's so crazy? This is only a couple times throughout this week that we've had. No, a couple times throughout the NFL season we've had this. So where no one is up for clap cheeks. No one. Well, one team was on the brink of getting the Clap Cheeks award this week. One team was on the brink, and we're about to talk about them right now. Let's talk about this real quick. So, first things first, 49ers beat Seahawks 21-13. Not surprised. The Seahawks is going to be the Seahawks. The Colts and Vikings. Here we go. Here we go. Colts and Vikings, people. I'm just going to click on this to start it off right here. The Vikings beat the Colts 39-36. And I need to give y'all the scoring summary right here. I know it's going to be hard to see because it's very tiny. And the way how I have the screen set up, it will be hard for you to see. So, let me point this out here. The Indianapolis Colts in the first quarter, they scored 16 points. And then in the second quarter, first quarter, they scored 17 points. Second quarter, they scored 16 points. Third quarter, they scored 3 points. And in the fourth quarter, they didn't score at all. So basically, throughout the first half, the Colts were up 33-0. I'll say this one more time. The Colts were up 33-0 in the first half. When I saw this, the first thought on my mind, I literally woke up, right? I woke up out of bed. I was napping. I woke up out of bed and I saw this. I'm like, oh shit. We may have just got the NFC on lock thanks to the Colts. We go to the third quarter, and the Vikings score 14 unanswered in the third quarter. So the score is 33-14. You would think, all right, the Colts still got it. We go to the fourth quarter, and the Vikings score 22 points unanswered in the fourth quarter, where it tied the game and sent it straight to overtime. It went from 33-0 to 36 all in the fourth quarter. So basically, you mean to tell me that the Vikings scored basically 36 unanswered? I understand that they kicked the field goal, but my whole point is they scored 36 unanswered in the second half. To go on to overtime, and they beat the Colts 39-36 with a game-winning field goal because the Colts couldn't do anything on offense. You know what? I'm sorry. Put in the clap cheeks anyway. Because it's more... Damn! Put in the clap cheeks anyway. I'm going to tell you why. This is basically... they basically... Clap them cheeks! Clap them cheeks! Clap them cheeks! Clap them cheeks! I'm going to tell you why the Colts deserve that. It's not because of the score. It's not because of the score. I take that back. It's partly because of the score. But it's because of the fact that they made NFL history in the worst possible way. The last time a team came back down from that huge of a deficit was the Bills back in, 90? 92, 90, 93, somewhere around that. And guess who was the coach? I'm sorry, guess who was the quarterback for that team? Frank Reich was the quarterback for the Bills that year. For that game. This is the same Frank Reich that the Colts just fired this year. So I know damn well he's somewhere at home laughing his ass off for the simple fact that his old team, his team that fired him, gave up 39 unanswered points in the second half and completely blow this game. I'm gonna tell you why this not only pissed me off as a fan, as a football fan seeing this. This pissed me off as an Eagles fan because I'll tell you this right now. If the Colts win this game, the Eagles clinch the number 1 seed. Because the Eagles hold the tiebreaker over the Vikings because they beat them earlier in the season. And the Vikings has lost, 2 games? 2-3 games? The Vikings lost 3 games. If the Vikings lose this game, the Eagles are clinching number 1 seed in the NFC. Without question. Without question. This pissed me off as a football fan, not even as an Eagles fan. I've talked about it as an Eagles fan. Now I'm going to talk about this as a football fan. This pissed me off as a football fan because how in the entire fuck do you let a team score 36 unanswered in the second half? When all y'all had to do, and the crazy thing about this is, they could have iced the game earlier to the point where this wouldn't have happened. If Matt Ryan would have just completed that quarterback sneak, if he would have just got that quarterback sneak, we're talking a completely different story. But the fact that they couldn't stop the QB sneak, they couldn't stop Justin Jefferson, they couldn't stop Dalvin Cook, that right there said so much to me. And the thing is, Kirk Cousins threw 2 picks. Then he threw 2 interceptions. Let me see here. He threw 2 picks. Passed the ball 54 times, threw about 2 picks. Granted, he threw for 4 touchdowns. But you would have think with those 2 picks, it would have been over and done with them. But it's no. We just don't care, says the Vikings. I swear to you, after this game, it made me want to do this. After this game. It damn near made me want to do it. In fact, I still might do it once I get paid. It legit made me want to look up a Death Note book so I can get it and write their names down in Death Note. Honest to God. Honest to God, bro. I still want to. I don't think this shit's gonna load up. Here it is right here. Death Note for me is not a problem. That shit's $12 over there at Walmart, and I can go pick one up right now. In fact, my mom went to Walmart. I could have told her to go grab one. But the point of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, you are so bad of a team to the point where you gave up that much. It's like, and the crazy thing about this is the Colts got nobody but themselves to blame. The owner has nobody but himself to blame. Because here's the deal. You threw shade at Carson Wentz. Now, granted, that shade was warranted. That shade was warranted in a way, considering how his career has turned out. But you threw shade at Carson Wentz for not being able to get to the playoffs when all y'all had to do was take care of business versus the Jags, which you could not do. You shipped them off to Washington, and you fucked up your own self because guess what? That first-round pick belonged to the Eagles. Thank you very much, which now turned into the Saints' first-round pick. Again, thank you very much for being a dickhead. You win as far as to get rid of Carson Wentz. You bring in Matt Ryan thinking that was an upgrade when that's far from it, as we can blatantly see. And you let go of your coach that, in my opinion, would have kept this team afloat. The Colts, ladies and gentlemen, are in purgatory. And they have been in purgatory ever since Andrew Luck decided to say, you know what, I'm done with football and I'm done with the bullshit. Because the Colts treated him like shit when he was there because they could not get him any protection. They could not get him a line to the point that this dude had to sit up there and retire. You went from that and you're about to waste Jonathan Taylor's career. Jonathan Taylor's a damn good player. He deserves to go somewhere else. He's about to be wasted over there. He's about to get wasted over there in Indianapolis. Michael Pittman's about to be wasted over there in Indianapolis. The only player I can see not being wasted is DeForest Buckner because he's a damn good player. Other than that, the Colts ain't shit. 39 unanswered, people. 39. That's NFL history the Vikings made on Saturday. And it's sick to my stomach because I need that for playoff implications. But at the same time, for the Vikings, congratulations to them. They literally showed that do not die attitude. They literally showed it. They just didn't die. They didn't want to roll, they didn't want to go in the grave. They just didn't want to die. Just did not want to die. Absolutely insane shit that happened on Saturday. Absolutely insane. So yeah, the Colts, they deserved the clap cheeks. And I'll tell you what though. If there might be one coach that I can see saving them, and I don't even know if they're going to hire him, and that's DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans of the 49ers, the 49ers defensive coordinator. He used to be on the Eagles. But he's the only guy I can see saving that franchise right now. Other than that, I don't know what's going on with the Colts. The Colts don't even have a first-round pick. Not that I know of. I don't think they have a first-round pick. Let's see here. We're going to continue on with the rest of the NFL. Browns beat the Ravens 13-3. I was not surprised because Lamar Jackson's not in there. Bills versus Dolphins 32-29. This was actually a good game, which I had a feeling it was going to be a good game. I believe I did say the Bills was going to win this game. Bills won 32-29. Josh Allen threw for 4 touchdowns, 304 yards, 25 of 40. Rushed for a couple yards too. Raheem Mostert rushed for a couple yards. Jalen Waddle got a touchdown. It was tick for tack the whole game. So it was basically just the one guy who made the one stop mattered, and that's exactly what happened here. One guy who made the most important stop mattered, and that's what all this boiled down to. So, Tua, though, 17 of 30, 234 yards. He needs to clean it up because I tell you what, come playoff time, he's going to get exposed. Same thing for Josh Allen, 25 of 40, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. They may be all well and good, but look, you better clean it up because This the kind of shit that this is the kind of stuff that won't fly versus the Chiefs with this completion and attempts percentage. Yeah, it was able to fly against the Dolphins, but that don't mean that'll be the case when you have Patrick Mahomes just bearing down your neck. Speaking of, I need to get at them in a little bit too. 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, 25 of 40. Josh Allen, 10 carries, 77 yards. Devin Singletary, 13 carries, 42 yards. Josh Allen had a good game stat line wise, but look, that completion percentage, like I said, he need to work on it. Dawson, 6 receptions, 98 yards. Stephon Diggs he got a couple catches for 60 yards, and that's all there is to it. Dolphins though, they need to step it up because I tell you this right now, if they do so much as go 8-8, it'll be a very disappointing year. Very disappointing year considering how they started out. They started out pretty hot now, and now they're just cooling off. Eagles beat the Bears 25-20. So let's go ahead and just Eagles beat the Bears 25-20. Jalen Hurts going 22 of 37, 315 yards, ran for 3 touchdowns. Justin Fields passed for 2 touchdowns, went 14 of 21, 152 yards. Justin Fields actually almost had 100 yards. He almost has 200 yards in total. In fact, I think he did have 200 yards in total. Jalen Hurts went 17 of 61, 3 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 9 receptions, 181 yards. Byron Pringle, 2 receptions, 39 yards, and a touchdown. The game was a lot closer than I believe everybody had a feeling it was going to be. Give me a minute. Yeah, everyone had a feeling that this game was going to be close because people were counting out they were very much counting out the Bears, and understandably so because the Eagles, they're a more talented team. But I got to tell you, the Eagles won, but they won in a way that we knew that if they don't clean this shit up, they're also going to be another team that's not going to make it far to playoffs. And really, here's how I see it. It's not even more so the team. It's the play calling. It has nothing to do with the team. Team's not a problem. The team that can beat the Philadelphia Eagles are the Philadelphia Eagles and their coaches. And their coaches proved it. The coaching proved it today. In fact, it proved it to the point where Jalen Hurts, who I'm about to get to in a minute, he got hurt. So, with that, Miles Sanders surprisingly had 11 carries for 42 yards. Honestly, I don't think that was the case the whole game. I cannot be the only one that thinks that's the case the whole game. That whole time, all I was seeing was Jalen Hurts passing the ball for damn near 40 times, for what we can see here with 22 of 37. And Jalen Hurts running the ball a lot, which we can see here with 17 carries for 61 yards and 3 touchdowns. The problem with this is why the fuck did the Eagles coordinators and why did Nick Sirianni thought, yo, let's do a lot of passing against the Bears defense, when you have to understand the situation at hand. It was fucking windy and cold out there. Both windy and cold. That's why Chicago is what it is. It's a windy city. So you would think what common sense would tell you, it's windy and it's cold. Let's do a lot of running today, since it's not only what we're good at, but also because it's to protect our quarterback. Not only did they not protect their quarterback by sitting up there making him throw as much as he did, which caused for 2 interceptions, but they didn't protect him by having him keep the ball so many times when they did call a run play. This led to him getting hurt. So Jalen Hurts, after the game, ended up hurting his shoulder. His throwing shoulder, might I add. Not his non-throwing shoulder. His throwing shoulder. So right now we have no idea if he's going to be ready to go on Saturday versus Dallas. Now, here's how I see it though, right? I feel like no matter what, Jalen Hurts or not, the team is going to be good. They're in a good position to win the whole NFC. And thanks to the Cowboys, who I'm going to talk about earlier, they're in prime position to win the NFC. Because here's the deal. They can lose. They can afford to lose versus the Cowboys on Saturday, okay? So I'm going to give y'all some hypotheticals real quick. Say the Eagles do lose versus the Cowboys on Saturday. Let's take a look at their schedule, shall we? Eagles was good. Speaking of, Eagles was good with you. How you doing? Let's take a look at their schedule, shall we? The rest of the schedule. Say the Eagles do lose versus the Cowboys. Guess who they got next? Look who they got next. They have the Saints, who are shitty. And they have the Giants, who are shitty. Can y'all honestly believe in good conscience that the Eagles would drop 3 games, let alone drop 2 games with these next 3 games here? Because I can't. I can't. Saints and Giants right after the Cowboys game. That's the NFC. That's it. That's done. That's done. I can't in good conscience see the Eagles losing to the Saints, who are shitty. And now the Giants might be the one game I can see us potentially having an L towards. Because why? Because it's a divisional rival. But other than that, I see us sweeping the Giants. The Giants are not that good of a team. Legitimately not that good of a team. It's possible, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it either. And again, thanks to the Cowboys, they made that possible. So the Eagles can fuck around and either beat the Cowboys or they can beat the Saints, and that's the season. And keep in mind, say Jalen Hurts does not play this game versus the Cowboys. And say Gardner Minshew steps up and he actually beats the Cowboys. Guess how much rest Jalen Hurts is going to get when really he don't need that much rest. He only needs like a week or 2. It's a shoulder, stinger? That's what they said it was? A shoulder stinger? Shoulder sprain. It's a shoulder sprain. He only needs at least a week. The Eagles beat the Cowboys. He's going to get 3-4 weeks of rest. Because you have to factor this in. The Eagles beat the Cowboys. They clinched the number 1 seed. The Saints and Giants games do not matter. The wild card game, don't care because they have the number 1 seed. And then they're facing whoever's in the divisional game. That's at least 3 to 4 weeks of rest. And knowing Jalen Hurts, he's like, I don't want that much rest. But my thing is, and this was so funny to me, is we went from talking about, is Jalen Hurts the system, to, can the Eagles survive the Cowboys and the Saints? Y'all gonna have to choose what is it? Is Jalen Hurts the system or is he not? In my opinion, he is the system. But y'all need to stop switching up these narratives. So here's how I see it. Eagles, Cowboys, I see the Eagles winning this game. But it's going to be a real close game. Just like how it was versus the Bears, it's going to be just as close. It's going to be a very, 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 very close game. I could see this coming down to a game-winning field goal from Jake Elliott. Why? Because, look, and the reason why I say this is because it's really up to the play calling, and I don't know if the play calling is going to continue doing what they're doing. I don't know if they're going to continue. I don't know if they're going to have Minshew pass the ball 40 times, and I don't know if they trust their run game enough to where they can alleviate a bit of that pressure. Here's the thing: Hurts has that Jordan in him to where he doesn't want to do that, and I understand he does. He has that Jordan in him, but here's the deal, though, Eagles. If you play him versus the Cowboys and he gets hurt again, that's gonna severely diminish the Eagles' chances of trying to get to the Super Bowl, let alone get deeper into the playoffs if they can get that far. We don't know if they'll ever get that far because when the playoffs start, it's a brand new game. It's 0-0 all over again, where one loss is gonna net you right to the offseason. So, I'm thinking the Eagles might play it safe and bench him for this game. They're gonna put their trust in Minshew. If Hurts is nowhere near close to 100% and heading into this game, they will rest him whether he likes it or not. Because you cannot run a risk of this. Because either way, the Eagles are in the playoffs. Either way, no matter what happens these next 3 games, the Eagles are in the playoffs and they need him for every bit of these playoffs. They need him. They need everybody they can get. Like every other team, you need everybody you can get for these playoffs. You cannot be unmanned in these playoffs and think you're going to win it all. Can't. This is not a weird case where I forgot what team did this, where a Super Bowl team sat up there and lost all these key players and they still sat up there and won the whole thing. I can't see it. You need everybody that you can get, especially your main talent. So, we'll see how Jalen Hurts is going to do. Right now, today is Tuesday. We have at least till Thursday or Friday, to find out how he's doing. And if he's not improved with that shoulder injury, you got to put Minshew in. You have to. But we will see how he do. Now, let's talk about more of these games, okay? I'm going to go ahead and get right to the Cowboys right now, in fact. I don't care about Falcons Saints. Fuck the Falcons. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care about that. I'm gonna get to the Cowboys Giants real quick, and then I'll get to the next 3 games. Cowboys Jaguars. I said Cowboys Giants. Cowboys Jaguars. The Jaguars beat the Cowboys. Oh shit. So y'all wonder why I said that you wonder why I said the NFC is up for grabs thanks to the Cowboys? This is why. Y'all so worried about Jalen Hurts and if he's the system, you overlook Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson. Jaguars beat the Dallas Cowboys 40-34 in an amazing game for me, to say the least. Dak Prescott threw for 2 interceptions. He actually had a good stat line. Just the 2 interceptions really killed him. 23-30, 256. That's actually not bad. But those 2 interceptions are murder. And the second one he threw was a pick 6 to end the game. Tony Pollard, 19 carries, 75 yards. Zeke Elliott, 16 carries, 58 yards. I got to tell you, it's a good thing the Eagles picked up Sue and got Jordan Davis back or whatever, because this Dallas running game has really come into its own as of late. But it's not going to win you the game. It's not going to win you the game entirely. CeeDee Lamb had a good game. 7 receptions, 126 yards. Noah Brown had 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard had 4 catches. Peyton Hendershot scored a touchdown. Dalton Schultz didn't do anything. Zeke didn't do anything. Defense is the defense. It's whatever. The Jags only picked off Trevor Lawrence once. Cowboys only picked off Trevor Lawrence once. Trevor Lawrence went 27-42, 318 yards, 4 touchdowns. He came into his own with this game. Trevor Etienne, 19 carries, 103 yards. I gotta tell you, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys defense, y'all can't be spewing shit on. You can't be talking shit on defense, and you letting guys like these out here running 100 on you. Trevor Lawrence, Jamal Agnew, Jermichael Hasty, they did good enough to combine for at least 87 to 90 yards rushing, along with Travis Etienne. That's a damn near 200 yards rushing that the Cowboys have given up. So y'all got a rushing problem. The Eagles addressed that rushing problem. The only person that really ran that much on us since we addressed the rushing problem was obviously Justin Fields. which is understandable because it's hard to contain Justin Fields. Dude's a fucking monster. He's a monster when he's not passing the football. Zay Jones has 6 receptions, 109 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'll tell you this right now. If y'all having these kind of problems against the Jags, Christian Kirk, 6 receptions, 92 yards. Evan Ingram, 8 receptions, 62 yards. He's a tight end. Keep in mind, we're going to have Dallas Goedert back for this game. I'm going to tell you this right now. If Cowboys defense having problems like this, Minshew or Hurts, it ain't going to matter if you're having issues like this. Tell you that right now. The NFC will belong to the Eagles if you're having issues like this against the Jags. Let's see. Dak Prescott was sacked twice, and 3 times. Well, yeah, he was sacked twice. I forgot to mention one thing with the Eagles real quick. The Eagles are about to make history when it goes to the defense. The Eagles have, I think, one pass rusher. I think Hassan Reddick is over 10 plus sacks. And I believe Josh Sweat and Javon Hargrave is either both of them, and I believe it's also Brandon Graham as well. The Eagles are about to make history, and they might either do it versus the Cowboys or they'll do it versus the Saints. Well, they'll be the first team in NFL history to have 3 players with 10 plus sacks. No team has done that. They might have 4 players with 10 plus sacks, depending on Brandon Graham, because he's rotation now. He's not really starting like he used to. He's rotation. But all they need is 2 sacks. That's it. They just need 2 sacks, and they will make history. So, more added history for this Eagles game more than what they already have coming up on Saturday for Christmas Eve. So, yeah, thanks, Cowboys. Thanks to this L, because guess what? This gave the Eagles all the breathing room that's needed. All they have to do is either beat the Cowboys or beat the Saints, and the NFC in its entirety belongs to them. The NFC runs through Philly. It don't run through Minnesota. It wouldn't run through It wouldn't run through San Francisco. It was not going to run through New York. It's going to run in Philly. That's it. And I see it running through Philly because if they don't beat the Cowboys, they're going to beat the Saints. They're too talented to lose to a team like that. I'm sorry. Way too talented. I'm going to move on and talk about the rest of these games. Lions and Jets. Lions beat the Jets 20-17. I'm going to say this right now. If I'm the Washington Commanders and New York Giants, you better keep your eyes out for these Detroit Lions. They are hungry for a playoff berth. Hungry. The Lions right now broke even. They've 500 and God knows how long. They're 7-7. Let me look at their schedule for the rest of this season. They have the Panthers, which can be winnable. They have the Bears, also can be winnable, but it's a rival game. And they have the Packers. They win 2 out of those 3. They're probably going to go to the playoffs. And the way how I see it, I want them to go to the playoffs. Because if they're in the playoffs, they might run into the Lions. And I got to tell you, that for me would be fucking fantastic. That for me would be fucking fantastic. I would love to see this happen where the Vikings face the Lions and the Lions give them nothing but hell on earth. I want to see that again. So, please, Lions, by all means, continue winning. The only thing I have a problem with is when it goes to the playoff picture. Let me see this real quick. I need to look up the playoff picture for the NFC. Give me a sec. This is where we're looking at the right side here. We'll take a look at. I don't think we care so much about the left side, but it's really the right side here. Okay, so basically, if the season ended today, and if either one of these teams lose, I don't know who the Giants got next, but I'll have to find out. Either the Lions or the Seahawks is gonna come in and they're gonna completely run shit. So the Seahawks still have a chance of coming in because the Washington loss. It didn't matter. It helped them out either way. But Lions, man, I'm telling you, they're on the come up. The Packers are effectively eliminated from playoff contention. They can't do anything. So it's really down to the Seahawks and the Lions, and if they can if they can get by Washington and New York. And honestly, they might have a chance of doing that because both teams are shaky in their own right. So I can see this coming. Tampa Bay ain't shit. And it's a shame because they're going to be the one team that's so terrible in the NFC South that's going to make the playoffs when really they have no business being in it whatsoever. It's really a fucking shame. If anything, that 4 seed should belong to one of these teams. One of these teams. They have a way better record than the Buccaneers. But I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, they have the Panthers and Bears next. One of them both those games can be winnable if they don't choke. So there's that. The Patriots and Raiders 30-24. They win it in the most bizarre way possible. Raiders win on a walk-off touchdown when really all the Patriots had to do was sit on the ball and they're going into overtime. Like, y'all can look it up for yourself. It is such a wild ending. It's stupid. It's wild. Steelers beat the Panthers 24-16. Chiefs beat the Texans 30-24. And Texans.
Damn!
Texans. I'm sorry, I had to talk about y'all for a minute. Texans. Back-to-back games. Y'all sat up there and y'all pushed these teams to the brink and y'all cannot fucking finish. Why? Why can you not finish these teams? I don't understand, man. This is like Splatoon from earlier, where you dominate early in the match. You dominate. You're completely killing this team. And then come fourth quarter, you completely fuck it all up. How is that possible? I need someone to explain how the fuck is that possible. Like, oh, God. I hope next year, whoever they're bringing in next year, it at least helps them a little bit. Because, look, you can't be heading into games like this, 1 or 11 or not, still, you're in a tight-ass ball game. And the least you could try to do is play to fucking finish. And they have not done that for me in the past couple of weeks. I'll tell you what, this is why I'm still mad at the Texans for this. Because if they beat the Cowboys, we're definitely not talking about this game on Saturday. We're not talking about this game. If the Texans beat the Cowboys, just like the Jags did this last week, the NFC East is done. It's done. We're not talking about the NFC East. We're not talking about the NFC, even, if the Colts handled their job. But this feels like fucking Thanos right now, where we're out and the Eagles are out here being like, you know what, fine, I'll do it myself. That's literally what this is like. Like, fine, bro, we will do it ourselves. That's exactly how this feels like. Like, damn, the one time we want y'all to at least make our lives a little easier, it's still going to be made a little bit more harder because we have to win all of these games. That's basically what this is. We cannot drop a game. And this next game is important for the number 1 seed. It's important to lock up the number 1 seed, but it's not as important to lock up the division. So the Eagles are going to get the division on lock either way versus the Saints. But if the Eagles want to wrap this up entirely, they have to beat the Cowboys. And we'll see how they're feeling heading into that game. But yeah, Texans, man, you're killing me. You're killing me. Hell, if they would have beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, guess who's really going to win MVP? Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts wins MVP if the Chiefs don't finish the Texans. Because he beat the Texans earlier this year. Coming off a bye, mind you. Coming off a bye, and it was on a short week. So, keep that in mind. I don't think anybody cares about Cardinals, Broncos. I don't think anybody cares about what happened with the Titans and the Chargers. Bengals and Buccaneers 34-28-23. I'm gonna say this right now. The Buccaneers are like hold up. What was the Seahawks versus Saints? Like the beast mode run. What was the beast mode run? 2011, right? Alright. What was their record heading in? 7-9. That's literally the Bucs right now. Literally the Bucs. Literally the Bucs. For the Bucs, a team will literally have to play like how the Saints played versus the Seahawks did back in 2011 in order to even so much as justify having them here in these playoffs. And this is when the Saints came off as the Super Bowl champion. They still got to the playoffs. They just won the title in 2010. And they fucked that up. Look at it from right here. Like this is literally parallel. Seattle 7-9 back in 2011. Tampa Bay right now 6-8. And you want to know the crazy thing is? The Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, and the Atlanta Falcons are still on the cusp of getting in the playoffs. That's what's so fucking nasty about this division, and they rightfully don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. Nobody in the NFC South deserves the playoffs. Not a soul. Now, I would sit up there and say that for the Cowboys, who already clinched, they're going to be facing this team. One of these teams. They're going to be facing one of these teams. It would be such a shocker if the Cowboys fuck around and lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, and the Atlanta Falcons. I would be so surprised. I'll be so stunned. There's no way in hell. Look, we hate the Cowboys as much as the next person. But ain't no fucking way in hell are they going to lose against any of these teams. They're too talented to lose to teams like this. Ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way. So, basically for the Cowboys, they got a bye week. They got a bye week. They just need to show up versus these teams, and that's it. Put up 21, and that's it. Yes, they choke, but they choke in a divisional game. They don't choke in a wild card. They choke in a divisional game. They choke in a divisional game. So, yeah, take that for what it is. They choke in a divisional game, my brother. And I have a feeling the Eagles and Cowboys are going to meet again in a divisional game because the way how the playoff picture is shaping up, let's go ahead and see this playoff picture real quick one more time, if I can bring it up in time. Here it is, the bracket. This is what I'm looking for. I was looking for the bracket. Give me one moment, please. Alright. So this is the bracket still. Even now, this is still the bracket. So, basically, if everything stands the way that we think it is, the Eagles are going to face the Dallas Cowboys in the divisional game. Now, what can be a shocker will be a real shocker. Two real shockers here in the NFC. Two real shockers. Say the New York Giants beat the San Francisco 49ers. I will be so stunned. and say that the Washington Commanders beat the Minnesota Vikings. Heads will roll if either of these two teams beat top three teams like this in the NFC. It would be more insane if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Dallas Cowboys. This would be utter chaos in the NFL if Tampa Bay, New York, and Washington wins. Utter chaos. But you want to know what, though? You want to know what's real crazy? There's one game out of all this in the wild card where I can see this being a possibility, and that's the Minnesota-Washington game. Regardless of the regardless of the Washington loss on Sunday, Minnesota gave up 33. They had to come back and score 39 straight points in order to win. But seeing as Washington is a playoff team and they know how to play defense, I can't see this happen. I can't see lightning striking twice. I can't see lightning in a bottle again. I can't see it. I don't think something like this will happen. So if Washington fucks around and they push the Vikings to their limit, like how the Colts did in that first half, that's it for the Viking season. If there's any team that is the most suspect out of these playoffs, it is literally the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I understand people are going to say the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, completely understandable. I understand people are going to say maybe the Los Angeles Chargers, they don't deserve it. And then there's, KC and Miami, which, again, is completely understandable. I would understand all of that. But the team for me that's been looking like the most frauds as the number 2 seed, it is easily the Minnesota Vikings. If you put the Kansas City Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings up against one another, I'm picking the Chiefs 9 times out of 10. Because the Vikings give up way too many yards and they rely on too many mistakes from an opposing team to get the job done. That's why the Lions handled their ass. That's why, for me, I want to see the Lions in these playoffs. Because if the Lions are in the playoffs and they're out here, hopefully if Minnesota fucks it up, if they face Minnesota again and they handle them again, the jokes are going to fly over the Vikings. And I cannot fucking wait. Plain and simple. They're gonna fly on the on the Vikings. They'll fly on the San Francisco 49ers as well, considering the hype they've been getting as of late. Say that the 49ers fucks around, they lose to the Giants. I'm going to have a field day. Now, I can't see Dallas losing to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is that fucking bad. But if they fuck around and they blow that shit, I'm going to say this right now. I decided I was going to get off Twitter throughout the month because of the Twitter bullshit. But if that fucks around and happens with these 3 teams losing in the wild card, if y'all ever heard of Retweet Armageddon, where we sat up there and we dig up past terrible sports takes and we start retweeting and laughing at them, that will be me. You have been warned. I would not get on Twitter if any of these teams, let alone all 3, fuck around and they lose in the wild card game while the Eagles are in a divisional game chilling, waiting for the number 7 seed to come in their house and get rolled on. So that's the playoff picture. So like I said, the Giants, they beat the Commanders 20-12. And like I said, if I am the Commanders, I start peeking. If I'm the Giants, I would still continue to start peeking, because the way how I see it is this. you have the Lions right behind the both of you. If y'all so much as fuck up both your next games, the Lions will take your spot and you will be sitting at home. It didn't matter to me who won or lost, because the Lions is out here lurking like the lion that they are, waiting for that prey to limp in wounded right in front of their face and sit up there and start snacking on them. Or the Packers beat the Rams 24-12. I don't care. We knew how this was gonna go. I don't care. So week 16 games. Let's get to it. Week 16, baby. Jaguars, Jets. Jaguars continue their win streak against the Jets. They're gonna go ahead and continue winning. And I'm gonna tell you this right now: if I'm the Titans, I keep an eye out, because the Jaguars is looking to clinch their division title. And if I'm any team right now in that AFC playoff picture, I'd be a little intimidated, because the Jaguars are starting to find their groove and they're looking very hot. Falcons, Ravens, I don't care. Lions, Panthers, Lions are going to win. Seahawks, Chiefs are going to win. I hate to say it, but Chiefs are going to win. Saints, Browns, I don't care, but I want the Browns to win. But here's the deal. Let's go ahead and head over to the NFL draftathon, mock draft, the tankathon. I see this already. I'm not a fan, because the Falcons decide to fuck up and lose again. So right now the Eagles pick is at number 9. It's at number 9. Basically, we need Carolina to lose. We need Atlanta to lose. We need Carolina and Atlanta to win. Carolina and Atlanta to win, and we need New Orleans to, of course, shit and egg. Indy, I don't give a fuck about. But right now, as far as I'm concerned, that top 5 pick is looking like it might stay as a top 10 pick, which is not bad. But at the same time, for the Eagles, if they want to bolster their pass rush a little, they're not going to be able to do it unless they move up and get rid of some talent that might be first round worthy, might get a team to budge, or even get rid of a draft pick that might get a team to budge. But we'll have to see later on. But yeah, top 10 is not bad. It can get you some good talent. But if you really want to get some generational talent, or some talent that can really sustain a position for quite some time, say Jalen Carter, for an example. Jalen Carter and, in my opinion, if you have Jalen Carter and you have Jordan Davis in the same fucking team, on the same team that they were in college, I'm going to tell you, the Eagles pass rush, it's going to be nasty, as it always is, for generations to come. So we'll see how that'll all go. But yeah, right now I think if I'm the Eagles' top target, I think Jalen Carter will be that guy. I don't think Will Anderson's going to be there for you anymore. So Jalen Carter, he might be a possibility if all 4 of these teams win and New Orleans takes that L, which I'm praying for. They have a shot. Let's see. Or unless if one of these teams don't want a pass rusher and they just want an extra pick to go along with it, the Eagles might be willing to be open for some trade offers. But like I said, Lions, Panthers, it's whatever. Lions, Panthers. I will need the Lions to win. Seahawks, Chiefs, don't care. Saints, Browns, please, Browns, I need you to win. Texans, Titans. It'd be crazy, right? You want to know what's so crazy to me? This might be the one game where I think the Texans won't blow it, because the Titans are so fucking shaky. It's not even funny. So I can see this being a game where the Texans blow it, the Jags beat the Jets, Texans don't blow it, the Jags beat the Jets, and then you got an AFC South battle for Week 18 where the Titans versus Jags are going to get, one of these teams will get in the playoffs. And that will be must-see football if you're a football fan. Bengals, Patriots, I don't care. I honestly don't care, seeing as we know the Bengals are going to win. Giants, Vikings, I tell you what. It would make my day if the Giants fuck around and win this game. This might be the one time I will be rooting for the fucking Giants. Because here's the deal, though, which is so crazy. You want to know the one thing that Vikings got in common with the NFC East? The Vikings have not beaten the NFC East this season. They got rolled on by the Eagles. They got rolled on. I'm sorry, they beat them one time. They got rolled on by the Eagles. They got rolled on by the Cowboys. The only team they beat. Hold on, be right back. That's food. But yeah, they got rolled on by the Eagles and the Cowboys. And they barely, and I mean barely, squeaked by the Commanders. It took them a field goal for them to win that game. So the NFC East got the Giants' number. I'm sorry, they got the Vikings' number. If the Giants fuck around and they beat the Vikings, the Eagles are still clinching the NFC spot. Regardless of how Eagles Cowboys go, they will still clinch the NFC spot. And I would just be sitting back dying. So the game would effectively not matter if Giants handled their duty. But we'll have to see. I think that for me would be the playoff. This game what matters for the if you're an Eagles fan, this game matters. Circle this game. Giants beat the Vikings. That Cowboys game don't matter. It already don't matter, but it would effectively make it null and void if Giants handled their job. The one time you should root for Big Blue, because the Vikings ain't shit on defense. Bills and Bears. Bills are gonna win this game. Commanders 49ers. Another game you should have circled if you're an Eagles fan, because the Commanders fuck around and they beat the 49ers. You might be looking at it as a good playoff matchup with the Eagles and 49ers. So, just saying. Eagles, Cowboys, we already know. Raiders, Steelers, don't care. Packers, Dolphins, don't care. Broncos, Rams, don't care. Buccaneers, Cards, don't care. Colts, Chargers, Colts, don't care. Literally don't care thanks to the Colts fucking up and blowing it. And what's next is next. What'll matter is we will find out. Till then, that is everything throughout the NFL in Week 16. We will find out and see what'll happen on Saturday, Christmas Eve, baby. Christmas Eve football. This shit gonna be fun. Till then, guys, this is who we're gonna raid. Now, before I go ahead and raid Shiva, of course, I need to pull this up. I need to pull this up for anyone that has not seen it yet. Give me one moment. And I thank her so much for this. I'm going to pull this up real quick so that y'all have not seen this. There you go. We have received some new art. Thank you so much, Shiva Senpai, for doing this. I'm very, very blessed. Another thing is thank you, another artist. You guys should be able to see it on the bottom left-hand side of the screen with the channel points. We have new art. We have this right here. The Phantom Ghost is what I'm going to call it. We have the Phantom Ghost right here from Shiva Senpai. She did an amazing job. Thank you so much to her. Shout out to her. And we also have our animated sword emote as well for my character sword. Thank you, Impish Lore, for doing the animated sword. Very, very good stuff here. Thank y'all so much to both these artists. I'm gonna give again, if y'all haven't seen Shiva, definitely check her out. She's absolutely amazing. We're gonna go and raid her. But I want y'all to take a look at these if y'all haven't seen them yet. We have, of course, our main green one. I'm going to be using these for merch. I'm going to be using these for merch. Of course, Shiva Senpai, she will get a percentage off this. This is her art. I'm allowed to use it, but this is still her art. I have to pay her, obviously. All of these will be put into good use. And of course, one of these two right here. I'm going to put this to use in a revamp. I have a character who I plan on revamping their clothes with. Not their look like physical look, but their clothes. So I plan on giving her new clothes. I'm sure you guys can take a guess at who this is with the two colors, the orange and the red. Um, she'll have new clothes and she'll have this logo slapped on there. Um, to put it to good use. Again, thank you so much, Shiva Senpai, for doing all these. These are absolutely great. And of course, the all white version right here with the black eyes and everything like that. Again, thank you so much. All of these are pretty good. The pink one, we're gonna put the pink one to good use for breast cancer at some point in time. And blue, we'll probably put blue on to some use. We'll put all of these to some use in some way. But yeah, thank you so much, Shiva Senpai. We're gonna go ahead and rate her. Right now, she's still doing art. If you guys want to chill out and relax with some good art and vibe, Shiva is definitely that one for y'all. Till then, guys, as always, every second, every minute, and every hour you spend with me is every second, every minute, and every hour I'm blessed and grateful for. Thank y'all for coming by with Splatoon earlier. I got my Splatoon quota done. Thank you, Zenogre with the sub. Much love. Thank you, Kari, for coming in with the follow. Thank you, Villain of Legend, coming in with the raid. Thank y'all so much for coming in, showing the love as always, man. Blessed to have y'all. Blessed to see y'all every time. Just don't be a dickhead to your fellow people. Until then, I will see y'all later on this week for some more gaming. More random gaming. I'm probably gonna play some Okami again. It's been a while. So peace. Later. Bye.